everybody, and welcome back to the Blue Jays Today Show. Today, guys, our players were disrespected by Major League Baseball because recently, in the past week, they came out with their Gold Glove nominees. And there is one Blue Jay on that list that should be there. I'm talking about Alejandro Kirk getting disrespected and not being recognized for the amazing defensive year that he put up. We got some stats to back it up as well, guys. And Spencer Horwitz being nominated for the second All MLB rookie team, not the first, the second. Let's talk about that and compare him to the first guy that was on that list. And as well, we get some other Blue Jays news and updates regarding some free agents that the Blue Jays could be interested in. I'm your host, Adam Patron.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And one of those free agents that we could be interested in is, in fact, nominated for a Gold Glove. But we'll get to him shortly. Last year, everybody in Blue Jays land was kind of up in arms because Dalton Varsho didn't get the Gold Glove, didn't get nominated. Literally didn't even get nominated for it, which was just insane because, you know, last season, I think you've had an even better year defensively speaking this year, but last season was still phenomenal. Like, you could have made arguments for freaking platinum glove, you know, let alone just the Gold Glove. So, you know, everybody was up in arms last year about that. And this year, kind of the Toronto Blue Jay that everybody's looking at and going, well, why are you not there, is Alejandro Kirk. Now, I know that there is a bias or I think a misconception, actually, that Alejandro Kirk is not or was not good defensively speaking, but that has got to be thrown 100% out of the window. That is not true anymore. That is not factual anymore. Today and this past season, Alejandro Kirk is arguably one of, if not the best defensive catcher in all of baseball.
And you got great evidence to prove that argument true. I mean, you look at their fielding run value, and this is where MLB is kind of going nowadays. Fielding run value, you know, they take everything into consideration. For a catcher, they take in your pop time, your frame rate, your blocks, right? They take all that into consideration and pump out a number, and it's pretty true. Alejandro Kirk, if you believe it or not, is not only the #1 catcher in the American League, #1 actually of all MLB is Patrick Bailey, and he's also the #1 fielding run value player in all of baseball. So not only is Alejandro Kirk #1 in the American League for catchers, he's 7th overall in Major League Baseball in fielding run value. So for me, that obviously means, well, we got to put this guy in a nomination, which he did not get. Now, you could make an argument, well, maybe there wasn't enough innings for Alejandro Kirk. I would then counter-argue with that, where the 3 guys that were nominated, one of them being Jake Rogers, I believe it is, right over here on the Detroit Tigers. Yes, Jake Rogers. Great defensive year. He's up there. He's 16th overall on the entire league in catching. He only had 761 innings, where Alejandro Kirk had 766
Effectively
innings.
the same.
The same thing. So that argument is thrown out the window. So really, what is the argument for Alejandro Kirk to not be nominated?
I mean, the truth of it all, actually, is that Gold Gloves, similarly to All-Star games and appearances and everything like that, don't mean a whole lot because this isn't the only big mistake that MLB has made, or whomsoever. Do you actually know who makes these? Who makes these decisions?
No idea.
Well, that's #1. Who the hell is who is nominating these people? Who gets a vote? Who are these people? I want to know, because clearly, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. Because Francisco Lindor, also somebody who has been left off of the Gold Glove finalists. This was somebody who is going to be in the MVP conversation, and the whole reason why he's going to be in the MVP conversation is because everybody looks at him in the National League, at least, as being one of, if not the best defender in baseball. That is a real thing that people talk about, and it's absolutely backed up. He's not even nominated to be a Gold Glove finalist this year for the shortstop position, which is just truly insane. So the truth of it all is that, yes, the Alejandro Kirk and the Toronto Blue Jays, some of them are being disrespected, but it's just because this entire award as a whole is kind of a farce.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, and again, no disrespect to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but at the time when he won his Gold Glove, he wasn't even the best defender at first base.
No, that didn't make sense either, actually.
It didn't make, he just had a great year. And I think it's more of those things, which also doesn't make sense because there's another argument for time where, only the star name, the players get Gold Gloves. Well, Francisco Lindor is a star player.
Dude, that
so that
really
also doesn't
makes
any
no sense to me at all, right? Because, okay, you can make that argument about Kirk, how it's like, all right, most people outside of it, outside of Blue Jays land, like they're not looking at Alejandro Kirk. Not like we're looking at fucking Jake Rogers either.
Yeah, right. Jake Rogers.
Exactly, right? But you could have made that argument there. But to leave Francisco Lindor off of it, I mean, that's one of the biggest stars, biggest names in all of baseball.
Yeah.
The guy's in, the NLCS right now, popping home runs left, right, and center. So, yeah, to leave that guy off, that throws all of that out of the window. So, again, it just all comes back to the fact that this is kind of dumb, and I hate that it's dumb.
I hate it.
Because, for the longest line, especially when I was getting into baseball, I really did put some weight and some value on somebody who consistently was winning Gold Gloves and Platinum Gloves. And I want to look at that and I want to go, oh shit, like that was the best defender that year. Like when you look at Nolan Arenado's baseball reference page, I want to know, like inherently understand and know that that guy was the best third baseman in, whichever league in the National League every single season.
You know how I feel like the only one that really matters in my opinion is the Platinum Glove, because I feel like that overwhelmingly has to be proven backed up by statistics. They wouldn't just give a Platinum Glove out to anybody. I feel like Gold Gloves are meaningless, but Platinums are like, yeah, that's your true defender right there. But also, I mean, you could argue that Varsho should have got a Platinum Glove last year and didn't. And this year, he might as well get it.
Do you remember who won the Platinum Glove last year?
Who won the Platinum Glove last year, everybody? That's a good question.
Because, you're right. Dalton Varsho definitely could have. But if the guy that did win it was, in fact, like, right there or, even better than that, okay, you're right. Then that can be one of those arguments that would be made.
Andres Jimenez in Cleveland.
Let me take a look.
Take a look to see where, and then you had Fernando Tatis Jr. in 2023 as well. Interesting. So, yeah, Andres Jimenez. Nick's looking it up right now, y'all. What'd he do in 2023 to deserve a Platinum Glove here?
Yeah.
He did.
Well, this is this year. I mean, he's okay.
Oh, yeah,
well,
he's
amazing. Phenomenal this year, and he was just as phenomenal last year.
99th percentile in fielding run value. That makes sense. And then what did Fernando Tatis Jr. do as well? Because that one was a weird one for me, because he was bouncing around for many positions. And it felt like, he didn't have enough playing time. This year,
phenomenal, pretty good. Last year, really, really good. And across the board, really solid. So,
fair enough.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
there's a little bit of weight to it, but honestly, overall, guys, I think we can all agree that Gold Gloves don't really mean anything, because we've been now hurt twice by the MLB for our guys not getting nominated. But big congratulations to the two finalists of the Blue Jays, Ernie Clement and Dalton Varsho.
Yeah, 100%. Yep. And those guys are, like, it is well-deserved for both of them, and I do think that they should. Like, Dalton Varsho should definitely get it. I don't know who Ernie Clement's competition is or, like, what that looks like, so I'm not sure if he is, going to be, actually winning the thing.
Right.
But I think that he was definitely deserving of a nod, and Dalton Varsho should be 1,000% winning a Gold Glove, if not the Platinum Glove this year.
Technically, if you were to just do a fielding run value, he is the best defender in the American League.
In American League, that's right.
There you go.
Wow, shout out to Patrick fucking Bailey.
I know, he's killing it.
That's insane. Obviously, we put Dalton Varsho on such a pedestal, but that guy with a 22 fielding run value, head and tails above anyone else. In MLB, that is your Platinum Glove right there, or should be anyways, assuming that the MLB actually does what they should be doing.
That's the thing, is like for me, like it's very easy. Just go down this list and pick the top 3 of each position in each league, and there you go. There's your winners. And then pick number 1 and 2.
That would be
for the Platinums.
Yeah, that definitely would be a way about doing it. But either way, I mean, we respect Alejandro Kirk for what it is that he's doing. Clearly, the Toronto Blue Jays do as well, because as they've come out and said, we aren't looking for any catching help in any capacity. We are going to be riding with him. And I guess if you go out and you do get, a bunch of offensive help in other areas, I'd be okay with it. Like, if we can just get our production from other people and then accept that Alejandro Kirk is going to be kind of the Dalton Varsho of the catching position, in the sense that, he will be providing good defense. He will be framing the ball beautiful. That's always my favorite thing about Kirk, by the way.
Is the framing.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm not sure if that actually factors in. Does it?
Yeah.
Okay, it should. Yeah. Because, like, I think that's just such a huge thing, where it's like, this guy's stolen so many strikes, gotten so many additional strikeouts with the way that he frames the baseball. Like, that is a very important skill. So, I mean, I think the Toronto Blue Jays know what they have in him, and are cool to rock and roll with it.
Yeah.
But we think you should have been nominated.
Yeah, and overall, I mean, you mentioned his bat too. I mean, again, like, if you're batting 253 with an OPS, 677. Obviously, it's not great, but again, it's a catcher, and we've been so used to having great catchers in the last 4 years with Jansen and Kirk kind of, as a duo. And they were both peaking at the same time. But, back to reality, like if you have a Gold Glove catcher, well, apparently not this year, but I still call him a Gold Glove catcher.
Right.
And then you have like an average bat or a little bit less than average, you take that every single day.
Yeah, of course, right? Like, again, assuming that we are getting the production from other areas on this team, which is definitely something that we are going to talk about later in this video with a key free agent that apparently the Toronto Blue Jays are looking at. But before we do, let's move on to talk about Spencer Horwitz. They have this other whole thing, which is probably just as meaningless as, the All-Star game and the Gold Gloves. And in fact,
it's all meaningless.
You know what? This might even be the most meaningless thing out of everything.
Yeah.
You got your all-rookie team, and then you got your second all-rookie team.
Why second?
I don't even know why. Why do we need a second?
I know. Well, we need to include everybody. Everyone gets participation.
Literally, it does kind of feel like that. And in this instance, you do have Spencer Horwitz getting the participation trophy, if you will. He was nominated, or I guess put on to the second all-rookie MLB team, which some Toronto Blue Jays fans are coming out and saying, hey, that's great. Like, we're happy that he's getting recognized. But you got a whole other pocket of people saying, what the frickin' hell, dude? Spencer Horwitz, out of anyone, should be on the first all-rookie team. What are your thoughts on all that?
Yeah, I mean, so it's all MLB, so it's not just American League. And what they have on the all-rookie team for 2024, they have Horwitz as a first baseman rather than a second baseman, which also I think is very interesting. Why they put him there? Because I'd have to check, and maybe you can check.
Sorry, you said they have him as second baseman?
First baseman.
A first baseman.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how many innings exactly. I mean, maybe you can find out how many innings
I'll take a look at how much he did at each position.
But if we're just looking at first base, Michael Busch was the #1 all-rookie team for first baseman, which if you do look at Michael Busch's numbers, I mean, they're very good. Michael Busch had a great season, 21 homers. His OPS plus was 118, 775 OPS, and he played for the majority of the year. He had 448 at-bats, and you could see that, he played 152 games. So, he was on the field the entire time, and as a rookie, that actually does weigh in quite a lot.
Also, so Horwitz did play 2 more games at first base than he did at second base. But he was pretty much as even of a split as you could get. You got 300 innings at first, and then you got 288 at second. Which I will say, I love to see, actually, the fact that we have a guy that's totally, locked in, can do either one of those positions, and, completely fine with it.
Yeah.
It's I don't remember... Maybe you remember something different, but I don't remember any issues with Horwitz at first or at second, really.
Yeah, I mean, he has 2 errors, 1 error at first, 2 errors at second, actually, so 3 errors total. I mean,
that's fine.
Again, I'm not looking at him to be a stud, defender. I'm looking at to put his bat in the lineup. So anyway, he can get his bat in the lineup. I'm cool with that.
But also, 3 errors over the course of almost 600 innings. I mean, that's
pretty good.
That's pretty good.
997 fielding percentage.
Yeah,
that's very good.
Exactly. I think that is perfectly fine. So they do have him locked down as a first baseman. I could have seen this one definitely going either way. I actually wasn't aware that it was all of MLB that was put on the rookie team right there. Which again, that's the only time that they ever do that.
Yeah,
because every other thing that they have, it's American League and National League.
Yeah, so you're gonna tell me there's 2 Rookie of the Year awards, but we're just gonna loop them all.
Yeah,
it's all a bunch of BS, dude.
Yeah,
is this just MLB.com making up their crap? I don't understand. But
it does feel that way.
It does feel all this way, right? Just get a random journalist to make this in someone's opinion. But anyways, looking over at Spencer Horwitz, comparing him to Michael Busch, I mean, you can make the argument in this sample size, absolutely. He was better. He had a better OPS, he had a better OPS plus, better slugging, better on base, better batting average, less homers, not as big as homer run guy. Actually, he did have a little bit less slugging, but point being, Michael Busch played 153 games, and then Spencer Horwitz played 97. So I think that's the reason why, they would give it to Michael Busch. And I think it would be the case that where if they were both in the AL, I mean, Michael Busch should probably be higher ranked than Horwitz. I mean, the whole reason why Horwitz didn't win rookie or isn't going to win Rookie of the Year is because you had Colton Cowser playing the entire season.
Right.
And he was pretty good. So, I mean, I guess some people online were arguing a little bit of a disrespect to Spencer Horwitz, but, he still got recognized as being the second best first base rookie in the league.
And I mean, I am happy to see that that Horwitz is getting acknowledged. This was again, one of the lone bright spots that the Toronto Blue Jays had this past season was Spencer Horwitz and what he was capable of doing with the baseball bat. Like, if we are hoping that this team is going to be going anywhere, I mean, you got to continue to see what he did, and hopefully more guys pop up like this. You know, like, this is what's going to turn your team from being the bottom feeder that we were this past season into an actual contending ball club, right? You saw Baltimore do it a few years ago. Now, granted, those were some pretty highly touted prospects, but I mean, they just have guys growing left, right, and center. You know, Houston's been doing it for years. So Spencer Horwitz, this breakout season, like, I'm really happy that he's, you know, kind of getting the flowers, getting the medals, or whatever you want to call it. Hopefully he has a good offseason and can continue to put up these numbers.
We need guys to fill out the lineup. He's part of that piece. Also, quick shout out to Benji saying, hi guys, have been subscribed since Ohtani watch stream. Let's go. What a night that was. Yeah, we'll never forget, man. Y'all rock. Keep it going. This channel will continue to grow. Appreciate you, Benji. Hopefully we have some Soto watch streams.
Exactly. Stick around for the Juan Soto watch streams. You know, I saw some stuff about the whole Juan Soto thing, and I mean, like, you guys have probably heard that people have been coming out and speculating that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be in on Juan Soto, which I think there will be some type of element of us, like, talking about it.
Right.
But, you know, then there's this whole other group, which is pretty accurate in what they're saying in the sense of, like, if the Toronto Blue Jays are actually going to be in on Juan Soto, then, you know, everything that we heard about the budget, or, you know, the little that we did hear about the budget, is a complete lie. You know, because if you're going to get Juan Soto, you are, you know, smashing, you're going way over your budget. You know, you're doubling your budget minimum, right? So, I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Well,
just as a whole?
I mean, we last year were kind of talking about the same thing. Like, our budget was going to be the same last year. Like, that was the whole conversation. And then we were in on Shohei Ohtani, which would have obviously destroyed our budget, right? So I think there's always plans. I feel like there's never one plan when you're heading into an off season, you know, especially with an organization this big, $1 billion organization. You're going to have multiple different plans. Well, if we get Soto, then that means we're going to open up our budget to get this guy. That means we're going to do this, and it's going to affect a bunch of other things. So, but if we don't get him, then, you know, we're going to stick to the general plan and just spend this amount of money and blah, 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 because no one can impact the game like Juan Soto. If we get him, we got to go all in, and this is going to bring in a bunch more people. We're going to account for all this. So I think there's just several different plans. There's a Juan Soto plan, and then there's the, you know, we go get the average guys plan, and, you know, maybe get some couple superstar plan.
Right.
There's all kinds of stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I will say, and I think this is why both Adam and I believe that there was a higher likelihood the Toronto Blue Jays get Shohei Ohtani than Juan Soto, is because Japan right now is literally giving Super Bowl level ratings to every single LA Dodgers playoff game. That is a real thing that's happening right now. So every time the LA Dodgers are on the TV, it is a fucking Super Bowl.
Super Bowl
over there for Japan. This is like the biggest moment for them, maybe in, like, sports history. I mean, that may be a disrespect to Japanese sports history, because I'm not fully aware of everything that's gone on there.
Yeah.
But, like, this is clearly a massive moment for that country to have your guy go and just, like, clearly be the best player on the field at any given moment, and dominating MLB and leading his team right now in the first season to what could be a World Series and maybe even a World Series ring. So, I mean, for that whole reason alone, we always thought it was more likely to go out and get Shohei Ohtani, because Rogers loves that shit. You know, they want to be getting the Super Bowl ratings for them. I don't know if Juan Soto is going to provide all of that. He definitely would help. I think the people would be watching more if you get Juan Soto, but I don't know if it's going to be like Ohtani levels.
No, I don't think so either. And actually, I did look up the. You know, I'm making a video coming out tomorrow just talking about the Blue Jays, you know, typically as we do here. But I was looking up the ratings for the Toronto Blue Jays, and the ratings obviously, or not the ratings, the viewership, they did go down. But they didn't go down an astronomical amount. They actually were better than they were in 2022. If you can believe it.
Really?
Yeah, they were better than they were in 2022.
By like
100,000 or something.
Did you see, so when you were looking that up, did it go by month? Did it go like,
just total. Total? Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's the thing. It's like, I was looking that up. So, like, okay. And then the highest peak we had in the last little bit was last year. Not 2024, but 2023. That was the highest peak. And then we kind of went down a little bit. But point being is, like, you know, the Rogers right now is, you know, how much more higher can we really get it if we're thinking about Juan Soto? Like, he's not going to bring in a crazy Dominican market. where it's like we're just trying to find our own market right now. Like we're trying to bring back our own people, which wouldn't be that much more, is what I'm trying to say, than what it could be.
Potentially, right? I'd be very interested though to see what that viewership looks like over the course of this whole season. I know that it doesn't happen, but I would love to see the graph as to like how was that viewership developing in August and in September, when we all kind of knew that this wasn't going anywhere. Because if you bring in Juan Soto, I think that there's an element of, okay, we're immediately all the way. We're in this now, And if you're a Toronto Blue Jays fan that's kind of on the fence about this team, which is very fair, like that's something that you can get behind, and that's something that would be like, all right, I am watching opening day, and I am gonna see how this team does in the first couple months.
And like I think too, from a Rogers standpoint, this is the one thing I kind of latch on to give me hope. It's they spent all this money and they didn't get a postseason berth, right? Postseason is where you really cash in on the merch, the ticket sales. The revenue, the ads revenue. I mean, we're seeing the commercials double in length in the postseason. Then you're having other distribution rights. You're selling them to like Fox. You're selling it to CBS, right? You're having all this money come in. So you think after they missed postseason this year, and after all the money they spent at the Rogers Center and on their player salaries, that they would want to get one more last squeeze of ad revenue on this ball team, and so they'd go out and make all these moves and spend all this money, right?
And it's not just like, of course, Shohei Ohtani's a massive boost to that, and like you get all that viewership from Japan and everything like that. But the fucking Cleveland Guardians, for instance, have you seen the Cleveland Guardians Stadium when they're playing baseball games?
Oh, yeah.
It is packed. Everyone's on their feet.
Oh,
you know that people in Cleveland, they sure as fuck can't watch their football team. So you know that people in Cleveland, every single person that is even mildly a sports fan is tuning in and is watching this. And after what they did yesterday, dramatic comeback. I mean, like that's the type of moments that then you as the Cleveland Guardians, you get to play that highlight on repeat, even if you don't make the World Series for years, because that's a special moment, and all of Cleveland can get behind that, right? So, of course, going to the postseason is always going to help your viewership and is always going to make people watch more and tune in more and get your ratings up and everything like that. I'd be very interested to see on that whole graph of everything, what were the ratings like in 2015 and 2016?
Oh, they were awesome.
Probably the best that we've had in 25 years, right? Like a long time. So of course. I mean, for that reason alone, maybe the Blue Jays will be in on Juan Soto.
Right.
But ultimately, we would really need to change the budget if we were going to go after a guy like that.
We really, really do. And speaking of which, I mean, there are a few guys out there that would cost a lot of money, and if you go get them, you probably are going to have to change the budget just because of how much they're going to cost. And one guy his name is being tossed around, he's been tossed around a bunch before, but it's recently coming up again. Buster Olney went on to TSN 1050, and he talked about the Blue Jays and their off-season plans and what kind of moves can be made and what free agents are out there. And one guy that was brought up that was linked to the Blue Jays is Alex Bregman. The Blue Jays only says Blue Jays could be among teams making a move on star third baseman Alex Bregman. He says that we know the Blue Jays have been looking to fill third base spot more permanently for the past couple years. They obviously did that with Matt Chapman. He's gone now. You had Ernie Clement there. That's not the guy, or in IKF a little bit at the beginning. But they're looking to maybe fill it in a little bit more permanently. What do you think about this, Nick, about the whole Blue Jays in on Alex Bregman? Is it worth it?
Well,
something you could see them do?
I mean, I certainly like it. Anybody that says that they don't want Alex Bregman or they don't like it, I just disagree with that inherently. Shout out and thank you to the person that just subscribed right there, because he is a quality baseball player. Now, is he the 2018 Alex Bregman that got MVP votes and had 51 doubles leading the league and all that shit? No, probably not. No. Are you going to get that in the contract? Maybe, but I wouldn't be anticipating or expecting it. I think that, you look back, though, at the last 4 seasons of Alex Bregman, and you're looking at a high 700, low 800 type of OPS player that will be solid for you with the bat. You are going to put him in the top of your lineup. And also, too, let's not forget, this is somebody that's nominated for a Gold Glove. So,
but it means nothing.
It means nothing, but we know that at the very least he is, in the upper echelon of defenders at the third base bag, which is never a bad thing to have. And that Ross Atkins loves those solid defenders at the corners. So, just from a player standpoint, of course I want Alex Bregman.
Right.
Where it starts to get a little convoluted, and when you can start to have poke a little holes on this, is when you start to look at how much he may cost.
Yeah, it's gonna cost a lot, guys. I actually was shocked. I thought Alex Bregman maybe gets like $25 million per year, but I think just because of the demand and the pedigree and the consistency of Alex Bregman, it's gonna raise his price. SpotRack has him averaging $30 million a year. 4 years is what they're projecting, which does feel about right for Alex Bregman. However, you also got to consider the reality of things. I don't know if SpotRack is factoring this in, but Matt Chapman just got paid quite a little bit of money. He what was it, like over 130 or 50 million or whatever Matt Chapman's was?
Can't fully remember the contract, but it was a good number for sure. He'll be there for a while.
I think it was like 26 million per, like, on average.
That's a lot of fucking money for Matt Chapman.
It is a lot of money for Matt Chapman, and you could argue Alex Bregman's got a better bat than Matt Chapman. Not as good defender, but I think in today's game of baseball, people are just looking for anybody who can get after.
That's the thing. And also,
bits,
like, it's not like, he is still a good defender, and it's certainly not horribly, like, 81st percentile fielding run value. Like, this is not that far off from the Matt Chapman that we saw in Toronto.
Oh, yeah, it's not at all. Yeah.
Right around the exact same numbers, defensively speaking, and better with the bat. So, yeah, $30 million is a lot. I don't know if he's going to get all of that, but I could definitely see a bidding war going on for him because he will dominate that third base market. Another thing to note about Alex Bregman, which is potentially why his value is so high. I just discovered this stat the other day.
Oh, yeah.
But the postseason batting, you go to the championship win probability added for an offensive player. Again, I mean, this could just be one of those MLB stats that means jack shit. Derek Jeter apparently only had a 1.5% value added. So take that as you will. This guy's got 16%.
That's pretty dope.
If you have him in your lineup in the postseason, you have a 16% chance better to win in said, postseason or anything like that with this player on your team.
And look at this. The years that they won rings, he had the most impact in the World Series, 23%, and he had 9.4%. Those were his biggest ones in his career. So, yeah, obviously.
He showed up in the biggest moments when they needed him, and, 2 World Series rings. You were obviously a major factor in all of that. So, yeah, Alex Bregman is absolutely a quality player. He is going to cost a lot of money. The one thing I worry about, though, with a Bregman, I'm happy to hear that the Blue Jays are in on him. The one thing I worry about is I don't want to be dealing with another George Springer type
That's
thing.
exactly what I was going to say is, like, it's literally a George Springer 2.0. And a lot of people in the chat are saying, I don't want a declining Bregman.
There you go.
But you're absolutely right. It would be another George Springer situation where you're getting this guy going into his age 31 season. He doesn't play as taxing of a position as center field, so maybe there's a bit of help there where he can survive it. He doesn't have a crazy injury history.
No, usually he's been pretty healthy.
He's been pretty healthy. 145 games last year, 106 one year before, 155 the year before that. So pretty healthy. So he is going to stay on the field, hopefully. But again, you have to ask yourself, when does that decline happen? And he's already quote unquote declined from his youth. So when is that next step going to happen? And you don't want to lock yourself into another 6-year deal, which is probably what Alex Bregman's going to be looking for if we're being realistic. 5 to 6 year deal with what Matt Chapman got. And I think he is a Scott Boras client. Yes, he is.
Yeah.
So he will be looking for the big bucks and the long deal. So yes, are we willing to take that risk yet again and reset the clock on that kind of role in our organization?
Exactly, because it does feel like you're kind of just kicking the can down the road, like trying to stay afloat here, and then just praying that the fall off happens a little bit later than it did with George Springer. And I do see people in the chat saying paying for Astros decline again. I mean, I don't want to be in that spot either. I think it's just, we obviously all want to see this team compete in 2025.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree on that. We want to see this team compete. We want to see them be a postseason squad. Is there a way to do it without signing one of these, older players, to a big-time contract? Because you can make the same argument with anyone. I know that we all are Teoscar Hernandez fans here, but it's the same shit. In fact, he's older. He's 32 right now, so you'd be getting him in his age 33 season. I know he's coming off of an incredible season, and he's popping off in the postseason, but same thing. Eventually, the fall-off is going to happen. Are we willing to pay for that? Anthony Santander.
A little bit younger.
But he's going to get a bigger deal, too.
Yeah, exactly.
He's going to get a bigger deal. It's going to be long-term. It's going to be the same shit. Like, is there any way to compete without giving up a big-time contract like that.
You need some young prospects that are going to turn into superstars, Nick. That's exactly.
You need a lot more Spencer Horwitzes.
Yeah, you need a lot more Spencer Horwitzes, and to no disrespect to Spencer Horwitzes, you need a couple guys like that are better than Spencer Horwitz.
Probably,
you need some guys like Jackson Merrill. Exactly.
Yeah.
You need a lot of those kind of guys breaking out. So yeah, there is, and I always accept it this way. Like in any good team, there's always going to be a guy that you sign off free agency that's going to have an aging contract and who's going to get paid a lot more money. I mean, every team's got one. It's Giancarlo Stanton over there on the New York Yankees.
Trevor Story on the Red Sox.
Trevor Story on the Red Sox, right? I mean, on the Dodgers, I mean, a lot of their guys are still doing good, but they got a lot of money.
Eventually, they'll be.
Eventually,
here's the
thing won't be good. Yeah.
With the LA Dodgers, though. They're going to bite the bullet eventually, but I don't think it's going to matter for them because they're getting so much money from what they're doing right now that, they're willing to take that loss. And they'll probably just pay for new guys at that point.
That's right.
Throw the other guys away.
Team, so,
right. Like they don't care. But for a squad like the Toronto Blue Jays where that money is at least more of a factor for us than them or the Yankees, there is cause for concern to be getting all of these older players on these big-time contracts, right?
Yeah.
And you do look at the pitching staff, too. Kevin Gausman's not getting... In fact, they came out... I'm not even putting... I'm not putting words in their mouth. They said this. Kevin Gausman and Chris Bassett both, were saying, we're not getting any younger.
Yeah.
It's like there will come a time where those guys aren't hurling the ball the way that they used to, and they're still going to be getting paid the big-time bucks. So... yeah, I am concerned to go out this offseason, especially after the 74 wins that we just saw from this team, and be paying for these aging players. But I also find I find it hard to see any other way for us to go and be a competitive ball team without taking that risk.
Because we don't have, like we mentioned, we don't have those young prospects that are coming up that are going to be impact. Like, yeah, Spencer Horwitz is great, but honestly, that's kind of it at this point, right? That have actually gone out and proven it in the Blue Jays uniform. We don't have anybody in the wings that is going to be like, oh, this is a top 10 prospect in all of MLB coming up, and he's going to come up and could potentially change your franchise, next year. We don't have that. So the fact of the matter is, everyone either has to overperform on the team already. You have to go make big free agent splashes. That's the only way to get impact guys assuredly next season. And hell, they might even fall off next year. There is actually no assured thing in baseball, but that's the only thing that you could possibly do to help your team if you're managing this ball club, right?
Yeah, no, I get, assuming that you don't want to do the full rebuild / retool type of thing, right?
Which we're going to kick it out of line.
We can run it back with the same squad. We'll just win 70 games.
That's
it's like
we can
do that, and then
it.
And that might help. And that's the thing, right? That might actually help us in a couple of years from now, when you don't have anyone on the books, and hopefully you still have Guerrero. But other than that, it's like now you can go out and start to kind of redo it. But that would mean that we're gonna have a year or two of shit.
That's right.
Are we willing to do that? It doesn't sound like Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro want to be, willing to bite that bullet, and I do get that, and I understand that from a fan standpoint, but also too, then the whole debate is, well, is that the right choice? I guess time will tell.
Yeah, it really does feel like they're kicking the can down the road where they're just trying to make their money now. They're not really worried. It's literally such a business, right? The business doesn't care about a few years down the road because they've already been talking about that. It's like, okay, I want my results now. You've been selling me this this bill of goods. Ross Atkins to the Rogers Communication Company that, in 5 years we're going to have this amazing team and we're going to be winning all this stuff and we're going to be going to the postseason and getting all this revenue. Well, you haven't done that. So I think the urgency for them is we got to get it now. Yeah. So I hope that also impacts their decision-making this offseason.
Well, and I also think, and I see some people in the chat talking about how, Vlad's got to be signed or they're switching to Bell, and I get that as well, right? all of this stuff, too. We didn't even talk about the possibility of, Alex Bregman gets paid his $30 million from the Toronto Blue Jays. Well, if the, I don't know, Diamondbacks or Astros or, just any other team decides to offer him the same thing, does he want to come here? If I was him, probably not, because you don't have, at this current moment anyways, you don't have Guerrero locked down. I don't know what the future of the Toronto Blue Jays is going to look like. I would prefer to go to a more of a sure thing and also stay in the country that I am already currently established in, because let's face it, Houston to Toronto is a big fucking geographical switch.
And let's also face it, the only reason why we're able to get all these big free agents come over, like Kevin Gausman, Bassett, Hyun-Jin Ryu, everybody.
It was the hype of the young Blue Jays.
It was the superstar guys. That was the attractive piece, and the fact that we could spend all the money. Now we can barely spend the money. we have everybody here, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
Right? So it looks even less attractive. Like, that's why, for me, and I've said this before, you need to lock down Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to show anybody saying, well, you will have Vladdy.
We're always going to do, we're going to have this
You're always
guy.
going to have Vladdy.
We're going to be trying to compete when this guy's on the team.
Yes.
You are part of that
You're
solution.
part of that now.
You know, no, I
That's the only
completely
thing to
agree
sell.
with you because, you know, there's no, I don't see, if I'm a free agent personally, I don't see like the big picture here.
No,
I don't see the big picture.
No.
You know, I actually was reading an article today. It was all about Teoscar Hernandez, and his agent came out and was kind of gassing himself up and also Teo because, you know, this past off season, Teo wanted a 3-year deal. He wanted a 3-year deal. He wanted, you know, roughly, you know, $18 million a year type thing. 3-year deal.
So cheap.
Well, but keep in mind, he was coming off a bit of a down year, right? He was coming off a down year. He's aging. We don't know what to expect type thing. He didn't get the 3-year deal. So then it came down to, all right, well, now we're looking at a 1-year deal. And Teo's biggest thing was, I want to be in a team that, you know, can go deep in October and that can win.
Right.
That was the biggest thing.
Right.
Where does he go? To the LA Dodgers. He's having a phenomenal year. Now he's gonna fucking cash in.
Oh, he's gonna
again.
make so much money.
But you know, that's a real thing for a lot of these players, which is, you know, if you're not gonna give me like the massive contract, well, I want to know that I'm gonna be on a squad where I have the possibility to be in postseason baseball. I have the possibility to be playing in October.
And have my numbers boosted by everybody around me. I can look more attractive. Yeah, I can be on primetime television.
Because at the end of the day, I mean, we don't actually know for sure. Maybe the Toronto Blue Jays did offer Teo a 1-year, $25 million contract. We don't know. Maybe they did. Yeah. But you know, if his main priority was, I want to be in a winning ball club.
Yeah.
Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, and at the time we actually were a winning ball club. I mean, we did go to the postseason back-to-back years, didn't win anything, but still, I mean, at the time you're looking at the Jays like, okay, like there's still something here. Now there's nothing here anymore.
No, now there's no contest, right? Now there's no contest, but. That is the recent Toronto Blue Jays news, everybody. Alejandro Kirk should be a Gold Glover. Spencer Horwitz potentially should be on the first all-rookie team. And Alex Bregman could be a top target for this team this offseason. Let us know your thoughts about all this in the comments down below. Thank you so much for everybody that has tuned in. I know that things are quiet right now in the Blue Jays news, but we do anticipate that things are going to be heating up once the World Series comes to an end. Very exciting. World Series could potentially be on the way, everybody. Kind of looking like it might be an Ohtani Judge type of thing.
Amazing.
Which, I mean, you know, pisses me off that it's the big market guys, but that clash is going to be kind of legendary.
Absolutely.
You know?
So, guys, if you want to watch us watch that World Series, go check out Bat for Baseball. The channel is on our channel. Just scroll to the bottom. You can find it there. Hit the subscribe button there, and also hit the like and hit the subscribe button on here on Blue Jays Today, because we're going to have more content coming soon.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and as always,
Go Jays, go!